Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today. If not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So today, I wanted us to talk about the whole theory that's been going around for a while, which is the theory of, is Qrow RWBY's father? Now, I want to talk about if that theory is actually possible, and try to give examples that may actually help this theory, or help provide that this theory could be a possibility. So sit back, relax, and let's go ahead and start this discussion. So, as we all know, Ruby herself, her mother is Summer, and her father, at least from what we know, is Tai Yang. And of course, it seems likely that it is. But at the very same time, a lot of people have come to the theory, discussion, or at least idea that Tai Yang may not be, Ruby's actual father, which is an interesting thing to think about, and which I'm going to bring up a lot of points in just a moment about that, on whether it could be true or not. But the thing is that I want to say here is the person that people have been hinting at could be Qrow. Now I want to just make a disclaimer right now. This is not my theory. I have not come up with this theory. This is just something I'm bringing up that has been amongst the community for a while, and I just wanted to throw my opinion in on what I think about this theory. So I just wanted to let everybody know this is not my theory. I never said that this was my theory, and that this is also just a theory, and we're just talking about a theory. So now, but anyway, so let's kind of get into this. So, of course, a lot of people have been speculating that it's Qrow, that he could actually be the real father instead of it being Tai Yang. Now, of course, a lot of people can, try to sit here and justify that. And some things that kind of interest me about this theory, or something that seems very interesting, is, Tai Yang, yes, he is Ruby's father, at least from, what has been told, or at least what they've led us on to believe. And, I can still see him being the father. But the thing is that has bothered me is that Qrow seemed more like a father to Ruby than Tai Yang. As a matter of fact, the thing is, when Ruby ran off with Team Ranger, the funny thing is that Qrow was the one who actually went after her to make sure that she was going to be safe and to take care of her, and yet Tai Yang, even though he knew she ran off, odd thing is he didn't do anything about it. Now, of course, this could go under the factor of he believed that she could be okay, that she could be safe, and that Qrow himself could be watching over her, implying that he believes in Qrow, or at least has some faith or trust in Qrow that he could protect Ruby. But, of course, this is still very interesting, and it's still very strange, and the reason why I say this is because, you would think as a father figure, or at least a father, you would think that they would go after their child if they ran away. I mean, that's how I would react if it was my kid. I'd be personally trying to find my kid myself instead of having somebody else do my job for me. But that's just me if I had a kid. But I'm just saying how I'd feel about the situation if I had a child and they ran away. But the funny thing is that Qrow himself has seemed more like a father figure to Ruby, and whenever her silver eyes actually did activate, he was the one to actually tell her about, the silver eyes and about the silver-eyed warrior. And it's funny because he, even stated that, your mother had that. And it's very interesting to say that that is actually the case there. And Tai Yang tried to literally just push it under the rug and say, no, 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 don't worry about this. You don't need to worry about what's going on. When in reality, Ruby actually did need to know what was going on because she was a part of the affair of what happened. And she did activate the, silver eyes when she watched Pyrrha die by Cinder's hand. And of course, she had every right to know what happened. And Tai Yang was trying to avoid that as not a father figure, but more or less of a, I guess, somebody that would be more as a supervising adult. But it's funny that Qrow would come in on that situation. But the funny thing is we have to also go back to Team Stark and think about Team Stark for 1 minute. Now, Team Stark, of course, is the team consisted of, the parents of Ruby and Yang. And now, what's really funny about this case, and a lot of people go back to this, maybe Tai Yang has a problem with Qrow for one reason, and this is something that I want to bring up here that may be an interesting thought. Maybe there was a fling while Tai Yang and Summer were together between Qrow. Maybe somebody cheated on somebody. Now, I'm not saying that that happened. I'm saying it's a possibility that it could have happened. That maybe something wasn't going right between Summer and Tai Yang, or maybe it went the other way around. Maybe Qrow and Summer were together and Tai Yang took over. I mean, it could go either way. And seeing that that could be the case, maybe that could be a reason between their conflict. Of course, Tai Yang seemed to have brought up that even when they were at the academy, that there were still problems. But who's to say? But for all we know, that maybe Qrow and Summer had a fling, and maybe this has to result in his constant drinking, his problems, and her death and disappearance may still weigh heavy on him. Maybe that's what started, Qrow's drinking in the first place, and also knowing that RWBY is his daughter potentially, if RWBY is his daughter, maybe that bothers him, and maybe this is what Summer would have potentially wanted, and had Taeyang actually fill in as the father figure instead of even really telling RWBY that Qrow is actually her father, and instead, just kind of leading her astray as to, not thinking that, hey, look, this is your actual father, that Taeyang is not. Maybe there's a whole lot behind that could be very interesting. And the funny thing is that there was a more approach for Qrow to actually be the father figure as well, considering he taught RWBY how to actually fight, which is interesting because Taeyang seems to be the one who actually helped Yang more so than he actually did RWBY. And it seems like he's more of a father to Yang than he actually is RWBY as well, which is actually a very interesting thing to think about. And of course, another thing that's actually interesting considering Yang, Qrow actually promised Yang, that he would watch over RWBY during the events of her leaving. He said that, hey, you know what, she's gone. I promise you, Yang, that I will take care of RWBY while she is away. I will watch over her, make sure she's safe. So that's kind of interesting that he would take on that approach and not even tell Taeyang. That's another thing. He didn't tell Taeyang that she ran away. She had to write a letter, which Taeyang saw, and of course he panicked over from what we saw at the end of Volume 3, but didn't lead him on to actually trying to find his daughter, which brings on the case of Team Ranger and Qrow coming in to actually help RWBY. And we know that in Signal Academy, that training actually has really paid off because RWBY's become very powerful because of it. Of course, there could have been more on the hands-on approach, like hand-to-hand combat instead of just the weapon training, which Yang tried to help. But, Qrow did really teach RWBY what she knows. And as what we do know that, or at least from what we know, Taeyang hasn't really done a whole lot. I mean, Yang even stated that Taeyang, obviously worked more with the academy, and that Yang, which we found this out in Volume 5, Yang had to be the mother figure to fill in for basically RWBY. And she had to do it at a very young age. And Qrow obviously jumped in, which is interesting. Qrow had to jump in to save RWBY from Tyrion. And this really kind of poses more things that, Qrow, obviously, he really cares for RWBY. They have a strong relationship, and we've seen it as the series has progressed, as these two have interacted more and more together. And it makes you kind of think, is there the possibility that Qrow is hiding something because he has hidden things? It's like when he talked about the relics and the religions and all that stuff, the origin of the gods of Remnant, the God Brothers. There's a lot that he's been hiding, and there could be more. And that's why his character is actually very relevant, is because there's so many answers, answers to questions that he can answer, that only he could possibly answer, or Ozpin maybe. And that's why I think that it's very, important that he survives. And maybe this theory, and like I said, this is just a theory. There is nothing that defines the evidence behind this yet, but there's just a lot of things to look at that could possibly make this theory seem like it's more possible. And who knows, in the future, maybe there will be an event that actually has to do with that. It may correlate with Qrow being like, hey, yeah, Taeyang's not your father. No, I am your father. But who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But this is just a discussion talking about this theory and what I think about it. Let me know what you think down below. And thank you all for watching. I truly do appreciate it. Like the video if you liked it and enjoyed it, and I hope you did enjoy. And subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And share this with your friends if you found this to be interesting. So everybody, take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. And remember, if today wasn't a good day, tomorrow could always be better. And take care, everybody. Have a good one.